Hello everyone, I am Hewett, a principal consultant at Chiu Consulting Group, and today we are going to be talking about the difference between a nonprofit and a not-for-profit. Now this may sound trivial and it may sound like a funny issue to discuss, but many people nowadays use the term nonprofit. So that makes you wonder, what's the difference between a nonprofit and a not-for-profit? Well, in short, one is a colloquialism and the other is a more official term. The nonprofit is the colloquialism, and the more official way of saying a charitable exempt organization is a not-for-profit. Okay, so these are essentially just two different ways of saying the same thing. Okay, so both of them refer to the same type of an organization, the same type of charitable, tax-exempt, not-for-profit organization. It's just that many people nowadays use in the vernacular nonprofit. So, people may say, hey, I'm working for this nonprofit, or I'm supporting or donating to this nonprofit, because it's just easier to say. But the actual official term is a not-for-profit. So let's take a look at the roots of both of these terms and where they derive from and what the meaning behind each term actually is. Now, in order for us to understand what the different terms mean, we should first take a look at the two major types of classifications of organizations which the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, recognizes. So the first is a for-profit. So this is, what most organizations are. This is what we're familiar with as businesses. So for-profit corporations can take many different types. You can have a C corporation, you can have an S corporation, you can have a limited liability corporation, an LLC, you can have a limited liability partnership, an LLP, you can have a general partnership, you can have a sole proprietorship, and all of these organizations have the sole motive of increasing shareholder profits or partner profits. Basically what this means is shareholders, they usually make an investment into a company and they expect to make a return on their investment. This is the whole idea behind a business, is to increase your profits, increase your earnings. And this is what a for-profit is. In taxation terms, they are taxed on their profits. Now, in terms of taxation, the IRS recognizes another type of an organization, which is an exempt organization. And an exempt organization can also take many different forms. You can have a public charity, you can have a private foundation, which is more like maybe a company-sponsored foundation or family-sponsored foundation. You can also have, which are less common, but public foundations. So you can still have many different types of charities or exempt organizations. Now, this is only a more of a tax classification, and it really has nothing to do with an operational standpoint. You can still be a not-for-profit corporation and not be recognized as tax exempt yet. For example, you can be in the process of receiving a 501c3 and not be tax exempt yet, but you're still incorporated as a not-for-profit corporation. But just know that in terms, again, of taxation, there are two major types. You have the for-profit, where the shareholder, their motive is to maximize their shareholders' profits, and then you can have an exempt organization. Taxation perspective, they're not taxed, but yet they're still making some sort of a profit, right? Now, if we take a look at the term nonprofit, the main term here is the non. Okay, we know that there's some sort of a profit. Okay, now every organization needs to be making a profit, as we have already established. In a for-profit corporation, their main motive is to increase their shareholders' profits. So does that mean that in a charity or an exempt organization, they're not looking to make a profit? Well, let's think about it, right? What's a profit? A profit is when your revenues exceed your expenses. Okay, so that's great, you have a profit. So what happens when you don't have a profit? That means your expenses exceed your revenues, which means you're paying out more than you're getting in, which means that your organization is running at a loss. So if you don't have a profit, how is your organization eventually going to survive? following this reasoning, every organization, no matter whether you're a charity or you're a business, needs to be making some sort of a profit. So the term nonprofit implies that that organization is not making a profit, which means that that organization is operating at a loss. However, as we just said, this is not feasible for any organization. Every organization needs to be making a profit in order to just basically survive, whether it's still $1 or not of profit. You need to be at least breaking even to meet your expenses. So that's why technically the term nonprofit is actually not correct, implying that any organization is not making a profit, right? The more correct term is the not-for-profit. So here, the important elements of this term is the not-for part, okay? So going back to what we said before about for-profits, again, their main motive is to increase their shareholders' profits. In a not-for-profit organization, you don't have a shareholder. Essentially, the public is the not-for-profit shareholder. The not-for-profit corporation is liable to the public for its activities. So, in a not-for-profit organization, you're still making a profit, right? We're not calling it a non-profit organization. It's just not for profit, meaning that the mission, the main motive of this organization is not to increase its shareholders' profits, again, because it doesn't have clearly defined shareholders, yet it's still making a profit in order to survive, but the profit is placed back into the not-for-profit corporation's programmings and activities. Okay, that's the main difference here. In a for-profit corporation, profits can be distributed as either distributions or dividends to its shareholders. In a not-for-profit corporation, that cannot happen. The profits are placed back to its activities and to its programs to further that organization's mission, whether it's for health and wellness, social well-being, whatever it may be. It's to further the activities and the impact of that organization. So we're not saying that that organization is not making a profit, which is the common misconception. The organization still needs to make a profit, but it's not distributing its profits. The profits are placed back into the organization, used to fund additional programs and to increase that organization's social impact. Which is why not-for-profit as a term is more official and it's more accurate to describe the structure of a exempt organization, a charity, than a nonprofit. And again, many people just say nonprofit because it's easier to say, it just rolls off the tongue more than not-for-profit. But the official term is not-for-profit because of all the reasons that we just said before, that it still needs to make a profit, but its main motive is not to be making a profit and distributing its profits to the shareholders, but it's to further its social mission. So I hope that was helpful in explaining the difference between nonprofit and not-for-profit, and that you now understand the difference. If you have any more questions, if you would like more information, if you would like any additional information about setting up a not-for-profit corporation, please feel free to contact us here at Chiu Consulting Group. You can visit our website at www.chiugroup.com. You can reach me. My email is hchiu@chiugroup.com, and my office number is 646-535-0602. The general information email is service@chiugroup.com. Feel free to reach us at any of these convenient methods, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you in the next episode.